around my junior year, I was the victim of a hate crime or two. And at that time, my school hired the Cochran firm. And there was a lawyer who graduated from University of Houston who was assigned to me. And it was the first time in my life that I felt helpless. And I was like, I want to help people that are going through what I've just experienced.
A few moments later.
So when I was in college at Rhodes in Memphis, I ended up doing Little Shop of Horrors. And so I ended up doing it, and the mock trial coach recruited me to do mock trial. And he says, you should go to law school. So I applied, got a full ride, and said, fine, if I don't like it, I'll quit.
And we are back, and we're back, y'all. Thank you for watching today. Go ahead and hit that like button, my people. You know that it helps us out a ton, and it only costs you, what, a little flick of the finger? Now, I know some of y'all are watching on TV, so I guess it just takes maybe a click of the remote control. Either way, y'all, go ahead and hit that like button. Now, y'all, check this out. I have been thinking about this Jasmine Crockett phenomenon. I've been thinking about it. I've been trying to figure it out, and I think I finally cracked the nut. See, she was on Jimmy Kimmel last night, and she was basically spinning up her web of nonsense that we're all used to by now. And you know what I figured out? Jasmine Crockett, she's an actress, y'all. She's an actress playing a lawmaker, playing a revolutionary. She's an actress, and she's giving us, the audience, exactly what we want. See, we respond to being frustrated. We respond to being irritated. We respond to everything that she's doing, and she knows that. See, when you look at how Jasmine Crockett started, she would not make a dent. She would not make a mark. Nobody would notice this woman at all because she was plain Jane. She was well-spoken, and frankly, nobody cares about that. Take a look.
Slowed down one bit, already elected to some leadership positions.
Yeah, so it has been crazy. But Shirley Chisholm was the first Black woman who was ever sworn into Congress. And it's been since she was sworn into Congress that a Black woman has sat at the House Democratic Caucus leadership table. Myself and Lauren Underwood are now the first two Black women in this session since Shirley Chisholm to have seats at that table. It's good to see you in the new year. You know, no one could have told me that when I went down to Austin, now it looks like a little bit over a year ago, that I would be running for Congress. It's just not what my plan was. But what I've always decided is that I would step up when there was a need.
See, that's the kind of well-spoken, plain person who might get a lot done legislatively, but will not get very much attention, will not go very far in our attention economy. And so obviously Jasmine Crockett realized that she needed to turn up the sister girl, that she needed to start cursing, that she needed to start saying controversial things, that she needed to start acting far below her IQ in order to get more attention. Now, this is where many of you are going to disagree with me because so many people want to call Jasmine Crockett stupid and an idiot. The thing is, she's playing stupid. She's playing the buffoon. She's playing like an idiot. So, you know, so on some level, the culture is to blame because we reward people for acting stupid because it causes us to pay attention, right? It causes us to talk about them. And if she had continued to be that plain Jane, well-spoken, intelligent, probably effective person, you know what? She would not move the needle at all. So the problem though is that sometimes, you know, she went all the way into the character. Like she seemed like she might have gotten lost in the character that she's playing. I mean, she even called her own self a DEI hire. You know, look, y'all, I don't understand that part. I don't understand going that far with it, but you know, she's playing this. She has fully embodied this character that she's playing.
It is continuously railing against diversity, equity, and inclusion, or we don't need people that show up that feel like diversity should not be valued. That is why we should have somebody that may show up and looks like me. The final thing that I'll say, because you've been gracious, is this. When I first became a public defender, I had no criminal defense experience. And I walked in and I told my boss, Charlie, I said, listen, you should hire me. He said, why? I said, because I'm Black. Charlie looked at me like I was crazy. And I said, let me tell you something. When I walk in, I'm gonna walk in with a level of rapport and understanding that maybe some of my other colleagues will not. Charlie offered me my job, and I worked my butt off, and I worked really, really hard for all of my clients, not just those that look like me, and that is what it looks like to serve. Thank you.
See, what she's saying there doesn't even make any sense. First she says, hire me because I look like my clients, and then she says I can do a great job for my clients that don't look like me. I mean, so is it based on how you look or isn't it? Y'all, we have to understand Jasmine Crockett. She's doing this on purpose. She's playing the role. She obviously scripted that out ahead of time, and she knocked the ball out of the park with that performance. She's even gone as far, y'all, as calling Elon Musk unintelligent, which you know she's playing a role, y'all. Come on. She said that anybody can be a billionaire if somebody just gives you $1 billion. I mean, come on, y'all. No smart person would say that. So you know, if she passed the bar exam to become a lawyer, you know she's playing a role, y'all. She's playing a buffoon. She's doing it on purpose.
As it relates to X, he has never made a profit since he bought X. In fact, the value of X is 75% lower than it has ever been. So if I am going to go look for somebody to run a business, I'm going to look for someone who is going to run one successfully. And before people start screaming and yelling about, well, he's a billionaire. Yeah, when you know the right people and they'll just give you money, then you can become a billionaire too. And maybe one day all of us will have that kind of access. But until then.
And you know the interesting thing about what she said about Elon Musk, like people just gave him $1 billion, right? Or billions of dollars. But she is now facing allegations herself that she was given money and perhaps even someone helped her win her election. Y'all remember that? Now, another problem, though, is when you start telling all these different lies and making up this persona and this personality that's not really you're going to wind up tripping over your own stories from time to time. And that's exactly what seemed to have happened on Jimmy Kimmel last night. She's been telling different stories about how she got into the legal field. And of course, she has one that involves her being discriminated against, of course, right? But then she tells the same story, but it has nothing to do with that. Check this out, y'all. We want to give a shout out to Maze on X who pointed this out. So shout out for this content.
I had a great background as relates to my ability to deal with numbers, and it was going to pay well. So I was like, I'll be an accountant. Unfortunately, around my junior year, I was the victim of a hate crime or two. And so were a group of my friends, all at the same time. Cars were keyed with the N-word. We received hate mail in our on-campus mailboxes. And at that time, my school hired the Cochran firm. And there was a lawyer who graduated from University of Houston who was assigned to me. And it was the first time in my life that I felt helpless. And I was like, I want to help people that are going through what I've just experienced. And at that point in time, I decided that I was going to sit for the LSAT.
I did Little Shop of Horrors. So when I was in college at Rhodes in Memphis, I ended up doing Little Shop of Horrors.
What part did you play in that?
I was one of the women that was singing.
Okay.
Yes, I was in the chorus.
Okay.
And so I ended up doing it, and the mock trial coach recruited me to do mock trial. And I was like, no. By this time, I decided I was going to be an accountant. Didn't want to do anesthesia no more. Still didn't want to talk to people. So then he goes, no, you should do mock trial. And I said, that's for the kids going to law school. Long story short, he recruits me. I do mock trial just my senior year. I become a national All-American. He says, you should go to law school. So I applied, got a full ride, and said, fine, if I don't like it, I'll quit.
Y'all, so my opinion on all of this is Jasmine Crockett's playing a role. She's playing the role for attention. She's playing the role to get the eyeballs on her. She's getting invited to speak by Al Sharpton. She's on Jimmy Kimmel. Anything she says in Congress, no matter how ridiculous and stupid it is, she's getting coverage precisely because it's ridiculous and stupid. So we have to look at our culture and our society, y'all. We have to look at our culture and society, because we are rewarding people for being buffoons. We're rewarding people for saying the stupidest things that they can think of to say. We're rewarding people for breaking social norms and cursing in Congress and that sort of thing. Not that, sometimes it's time to curse, okay? But she's getting rewarded for all of this. And so I want to hear what y'all have to say. Do y'all agree with my theory, or do y'all just say, no, this is just truly a stupid person? I don't think so at all. Oh, y'all hear the baby? Somebody asked me about the baby. That's the baby. So I gotta go, y'all. I want y'all please to give me a comment down below. But before you do, please stop, hit the share button. Share this video out with somebody over email, text message, WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, all the social mediums. I want to thank y'all for watching. Love y'all, and we'll see you back in the next one.